Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about love at first sight. Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about, I do quite a few videos on healing, relationships. That's something that I'm really passionate about. So the love at first sight popped up in my head today. So I said I'm going to do a video regarding that. There's a lot of um, noise surrounding love at first sight. Some people believe you can fall in love at first sight or believe in love at first sight. Some people are like, it's impossible. Love needs to be built. Trust needs to be built. Yada, yada, yada. So let's talk about love at first sight. Now, my take on love at first sight is that I do believe you can have spiritual connection. And that's kind of where I'm going with this video today, where when you meet someone, there is an instant connect. You know that there is something there. You can't quite put your finger on it. You you try to put your finger on, you really can't put your finger on. So I do believe that because love is the highest realm you can achieve, there is nothing greater than love. A love that is divine, that is unconditional. There's nothing greater than that. There's no flaw in that. When it comes down to love, when we start seeing flaws, it's because of the flaws that we have within ourselves. It's not because love in and of itself is flawed. Love is not flawed. Divine love is not flawed. It's just that as we are flowing through our human experience and experiencing love, we're experiencing love with whatever we have going on with us, whether it be insecurity, whether it be rejection, whether it be betrayal, that dependent upon how you experience love is going to be a determining factor whether you believe in love at first sight or not. So let's talk about spiritual connection. When you ascend, now you guys know I talk a lot about ascension, I talk a lot about healing. When you get to a place where you have released the old you've taken off that mask, you're no longer showing up as a representative, you're done with the fake. You're done with the fraudulent behavior, acting one way or portraying yourself one way because you really don't believe that people will accept you as you are. When you take all of that off and you start showing up authentically, okay, you start a self-love journey. I talk about that a lot. Really nurturing yourself, reparenting yourself when you have abandonment issues or detached mothers or fathers growing up. You can actually reparent yourself. You can give yourself as an adult what your parents didn't give you as a child. And many adults are reparenting themselves because as an adult, you really don't need your parent to give you lunch money. I mean, you're grown, you got your own job, your own house. You know what I'm saying? So you figure out what is it that I needed back then, and you give to yourself, nurturing, self-love, honoring yourself, okay? Standing in your authenticity, relishing your voice, okay? Unleashing your voice, not feeling like you're stifled, but you are able to express yourself fully, learning better ways to communicate. If you've grown up in a dysfunctional household, you probably don't know how to communicate effectively. Typically, dysfunctional households don't have a lot of healthy communication. So as an adult, you begin to reparent, you begin to heal, you begin to become more authentic, take on your own self-love journey. You're not depending on any person outside of you. That's a big relationship mistake where people are looking to connect. And a lot of people, the majority of people are like this. They're trying to connect with someone to make them feel good about themselves. You have to feel good about you, whether you're connected to someone or not. You have to have a level of confidence in you first, because what is happening is people are attracting to themselves people that are in that needy clingy. I need love. I need love. I need love from an external factor. Love comes from within. Okay, it comes from within. So now we get to love at first sight. Here we go. Let's go. Love at first sight. When you have deep spiritual connection, okay, and for any of you that are into astrology or your astrological sign, I am a Scorpio. Very, I'm an in-depth type person. Some people don't believe in it. I believe in science. Okay, just like I believe in the spirit and spiritual connection, I believe that science plays a role even in our spiritual connection. Astrology is science, people. So when you really look at that and you look at who you are deep down as a person, okay, and you look at your spiritual connection, where are you spiritually? If you are spiritually aligned, spiritually attuned, spiritually, you're discerning properly, you're really loving on yourself, you're depending on the spirit to give you everything that you need, to really shape you, to heal you, you're going to pull into your life just by way of magnetic attraction. Here we go with law of attraction again. Just by way of magnetic attraction, some in the Christian circles call it the law of faith, where you're believing for something and you become what you believe, and it pulls it into your life. Okay, you're going to attract someone with that spiritual connection, and it is going to feel loving. Okay, so when you look at love at first sight, is it possible? Absolutely. Are you going to trust that individual right away? Probably not, because trust is built. You guys see what I'm saying? You have to have some experiences to build the trust, but initially you can experience that loving spiritual connection. You can't have a spiritual connection without having love. Love is the glue of that spiritual connection. You feel that it's kind of like a oneness that you feel with that individual. Some people are afraid of the word oneness. They feel like if I become one with someone, then I'm going to lose myself. That's just not oneness. Oneness is you are one with you and you are one with the spirit, which means you're going to be one with everyone else that is one with the spirit. That's oneness. Okay, that is oneness. It doesn't mean you have to stop being who you are, or you lose yourself in another individual. You can still stand individually, even in oneness, even in relationship. Now, I will say, some people in relationships, they do lose themselves, but that's choice. If you lose yourself in a relationship, you chose to do that. You didn't have to do it. You chose to do it. Okay, by virtue of whoever you're in connection with. Okay, so to me, the healthiest relationship, I'm very non-traditional when it comes to relationships. So whereas there used to be a time in my life where the traditional marriage was something that my earlier years, that I aspired to, because I just thought it was what was expected of me. It's not really something I wanted. Probably why 5 years later, after I got married, I was divorced. Hello. It just wasn't something that I wanted. I just have always been very non-traditional when it comes to connection. Now, at 46, that was in my early 20s when I went through my divorce. I mean, it's like I'm more in tune with who am I connected with spiritually? What does the bigger picture look like for me and this individual 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down? Can I build something with this individual? There's something that I've always desired to do, and I only desired this probably in the last 3 years. I don't know where it came from. I wanted to adopt a child. So I have two grown sons, and I wanted to adopt a child. And so when I'm looking at the landscape of prospects, I'm looking at who is the individual that I have spiritual connection with, that I feel that loving spiritual connection with right off the bat, because a spiritual connection is not felt 3 weeks later. If anyone watching this video that is in tune spiritually understands spiritual connections, okay, there is an energetic pull to that individual, which is why some of you are having people circle back into your lives. They're not circling back to, to really give you trouble. And it can appear that way. A lot of times they're circling back because there is a spiritual connection. And typically it's one person that is a little bit out of line, and it takes that other person to kind of bring them into a balance. Okay, and then it doesn't mean you put your life on hold to bring someone else in balance. A lot of times they come in balance just by watching you show up as your authentic self. You get to decide how close you're going to have that individual in your life, or if you're going to have them in there at all. Okay, so when you look at spiritual connection and love at first sight, you can experience that. You can experience that. Trust is built through the experiences that you have with that individual. You understand? And then after that, it only gets stronger from there when you have two healed, healthy individuals. Two people that are not only learning lessons, but teaching lessons. Relationships are about lessons. We like to think they're about sex. We like to think, they're about, who's the most attractive. I am in this space right now that, I love being around attractive people, especially in regards to relationship. But that's not the most important thing. When you really look at it, if I had to choose attractiveness over spiritual connection, you understand, and that's all I had, that I would choose spiritual connection because it is more important to me. I know some of you are like, no, I can't take it. I can make it without the spiritual connection. Well, I can't. So, that's how you have to really look at it. When you really break it down, can love at first sight happen? Absolutely. You can have a spiritual connection with someone that is a loving connection. Now, this is the key here. You have to be healed. Listen, Felicia, okay, Shaniqua, Boom Quisha, you needs to be healed. Andre, DeAndre, Taekwon, you need to be healed, because if you're not going to be able to pull that person. And then when that person shows up in it, because literally they will, listen, take it from me, they will just show up and you won't know that they're coming. A lot of times we've blocked people from coming because in our mind we're waiting for someone else to come back. You've got to release that weight. You've got to really, and literally it's a weight, it's a burden. Because a lot of times the people that we've desired to come back, we know we are not energetically or even spiritually aligned with that individual. We know that there is an imbalance. So when you really begin to look ahead of you and not behind you and say, look, I really want spiritual connection. I want someone that I can be in tune with spiritually, that can relate to me in a spiritual way, in a loving way, in a nurturing way. I don't want to have to compete with the person that I am in relationship with. I don't want someone I have to, constantly battle. You understand? Where I have to, where they're constantly sabotaging the connection because they're not understanding why I'm in their life. You got to understand why people are there. I've been in people's lives where I knew why I was there, but they didn't. And some to this day still don't know why I showed up in their life. I was divinely sent. There have been people that have been divinely sent into my life. I didn't know why they were there, because it gets clouded when you add a lot of lower vibration stuff. Let's, for instance, in relationship. Now, this is really good. Relationships, most of the time, people are very physical very quickly. Okay? When you add that cloud, you don't really find out why that person is there, because you're clouded in a very temporary like connection. And when that wanes, you have nothing. You have no foundation. So you have to get past not having a foundation and really desire to build one. Can you build that on a spiritual connection? Absolutely. Can you build it on sex, bumping and grinding? No, you cannot. It's gonna get old after a while, and you're not even gonna after a while, and you're not even gonna want it. You need a healthy foundation. You need a solid foundation, and you need to be with someone that is gonna want to build a solid foundation. You cut. You have to learn how to cut games out when it comes to relationship, even with spiritual connection. Don't allow someone to come into your life and not be honest with you. They'll say, "Oh, I think I want. I think I want. I'm not sure." If they're confused, that's not someone you need to enter into a relationship with. Okay, you need someone coming into your life, showing up, and typically a spiritual connection. When they show up in your life, they know exactly what they want. They're very precise. I want this, and I want it with you. And I love you, or I'm in love with you. They're going to say those words. When people are dancing around those words, red flag. Red flag. You have to proceed with caution. You can't jump right in. Proceed with caution. So, can there be love at first sight? Absolutely, when you have spiritual connection. Trust needs to be built, but you can have a loving spiritual connection at first sight. Now, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. Conversations with Casey Bass. I'm going to be posting videos about healing, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-love. Want to raise your vibration, want to get you in a healthier space to prepare you for these love at first sight encounters. There are many soulmates in the world. I know people want to believe it's just one. I don't believe that. I believe that if there is a universal spirit, there can be universal connections. There can be connections all over the world. You just have to prepare yourself to make those connections. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Toodles.